I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, August the 10th. What just happened? We were rocking along here, getting through the dog days of summer. We already made it through the worst parts, selling fat cattle as high as we'd hoped to hold them all summer long, and cruising right along there, looking like we were getting into a week where we were going to hold at least steady, because they'd come in, the packers came in late last week and paid the highest price that they had paid all of last week on Friday, and didn't get all the cattle bought that they would have liked to have secured. And we were selling feeder cattle a whole lot higher than what's really justified. Farmer feeders have been keeping your yearling market up high, and guys kind of starting to feel good about the calf market too. And then just all of a sudden, we come in here on Monday with a down hard board. People thinking that maybe we got another big glut of cattle to get through, market ready cattle that is, after we get through these August cattle. I'm not sure what the justification of that is, but boy, people sure jumped on that bandwagon. And then Tuesday was just moderately rough, and then getting in here on Wednesday, it was really tough. And down the limit on feeder cattle, and finally your guys buying your feeder cattle, even your yearlings, have run out of reasons to justify to keep that market up, and the cash market on your yearling feeder cattle just dropped big time on Wednesday. Calves, we haven't sold a lot of calves here middle of the week to tell, but they're really going to drop too. Your market on your fall delivery calves is sure to be a foot lower after all this, and really nothing has happened to justify it all, but here we are, and it's hard to keep up with, but I'm going to try. Live cattle futures October contract down 255 to end the day on Wednesday at 108.05. August spot fat cattle market, your live contract there is clinging to $1.10 even. I tell you guys, we've been going along here for quite a while, a couple of years here, thinking that $1.10 was the net we've been working for. If we would happen to lose that $1.10 bottom that we've been working with, hang on to your Wranglers, because we could be in for a wreck. That has really been kind of a point where everybody felt secure of having a little bit of bottom side support. But now here we are with a spot live cattle contract there, and then the next traded month $2 below that. Feeder cattle locked down the limit every traded contract through next spring, with August feeder cattle ending the day on Wednesday at 141.52, and we've still got guys buying 800-pound steers up in the 150s, albeit not very many places, but we still got them that way. And a lot of guys that give that much or more and haven't even got them home and settled down yet. But fat cattle trade did happen on Wednesday. Actually, we had fat cattle trade a lot lower on a Monday, but then Tuesday we had some trade, but it didn't get reported anywhere. Not until Wednesday morning with mandatory price reporting. Nobody tipped their hand to what went on Tuesday. They sold 25,000 head of fat cattle on Tuesday. Nobody paid any attention to it, and the price was 115 to 116, which would have been better than a little dab of Monday trade, and really better than what we thought we might get through this after we started the week on such a downer. Had some dress trade on Tuesday from 184 to 186, but when that board opened up on Wednesday, nobody knew anything hardly about the Tuesday trade. People started selling fats, mostly at 115. They did have some 114 and a half. That was mostly western Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, places like that. They're kind of the ones on the back end of the trade this week. But 114 and a half to 115, that's kind of $1 to $3 lower, depending on where you looked at it, on the bulk of the trade or the end of the trade last week, because we did have 118 pretty well established late last week. But dress trade 184 to 185, sure $2 to $3 lower. Our slaughter's been fantastic so far this week. Through Wednesday, 353,000 compared to 347 last week, and just 336,000 the same week a year ago. But you look at your feeder cattle markets, and your feeder cattle markets have been staying up there really high, and mostly due to your farmer feeders, because a lot of them, especially right in the heart of the Corn Belt, are expecting another big crop. They've probably got bins at home full of last year's crop, even the trucks full of last year's crop. They're looking for a place to get some value out of that. We do have a pretty big report coming in here today on Thursday, your August crop production report. Now you compare that to what the July estimates were, and it's still been pretty dry in the driest places. So your yield estimates for July were 170.7. Now we're expecting this August to come in somewhere around 165, 166. If it comes in anywhere between 165 and 170, cattle don't have to worry, because it's going to continue to be bearish on your corn and bean market. But we've had such a big crop in South America that it's kind of been keeping the dryness and the drought and the dipping of the estimates of this year's crop here in the United States, been keeping that at bay. Your crop production on July estimates was 14.25 billion bushels. Now guys, most of your analysts are kind of estimating it's going to be dialed down a little bit to around 13.8. So if we stay in that range, we'll be okay. If we dip down below that, like 13.5 billion bushels, then you're probably going to see a shot in the arm to your corn market, and then that's going to be even more pressure on your feeder cattle, which they can't stand anymore. Lock down the limit on Wednesday there. But you look at what happened in your cash markets on Wednesday. Real-time index based on an 800-pound steer on Beef Market Central there, 145.26, down $3.56 just from Tuesday's close. That is a ton on an average, on a moving average there, a 5-day moving average. You look at some markets, and actually it used to be Monday, but now Wednesday is kind of our big market day. OKC West, daddy of them all, biggest sale barn in the country there, had 6,900, including their calf sale on Tuesday, but around 5,200 head of yearlings on Wednesday. Feeders sold $3 to mostly $6 lower, called by Market News there. And but if you look at the report, the automated report on Beef Market Central, it looks a little more like $3 to $8 lower on your steers anyway. You look at some quotes there, almost 1,200 head of 7-weight steers averaging 764 brought 141.09. Over 1,350 head of 8-weight steers averaging 859 averaged just under 137. That is a ton lower. We were selling them way up in the 140s last week, even on the average, and a lot of them bringing 150 or more last week and even earlier this week. 318 head of 9-weight steers averaged just under 129. That is a bunch lower, but it's lower, and it's going to be lower everywhere. Dodge City, Kansas had a pretty good run there, 3,300 head. Market News called their sale feeders mostly $5 to $8 lower, some heifers $3 to $5 lower. But if you look at the Beef Market Central automated report out of Dodge City at Winter Livestock there, it looks like a lot of those steers are $10 lower. But they had a great sale last week. If you remember how good their sale was last week, probably the best sale on a big commercial basis, especially in the Southern Plains, that we had all week, was at Dodge City last week. But if you look at the report there this week, you see almost 900 head of 8-weight steers averaging 853 at 141.08 on a weighted average price. That's a little over $10 lower than last week's weighted average price on the same weight range. But you look at some markets that are still so surprising. These eastern markets, until we got these automated market reports out of here, I don't think a lot of us out west here really realized how many load lots they sell, especially those bluegrass markets in Kentucky. Look at Bluegrass East in Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Now this was on Wednesday, but it was really before the board opened, so that gives you a little bit. But Bluegrass, another bluegrass market, had the highest cattle so far for the week. This will be the last of the 150 somethings and the 8-weights for a while. But Mount Sterling had 121 steers weighed 831 pounds at 153.10. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.